I've always said, eventually Chloe Zhao is going to direct an Oscar-caliber movie. Looks like I didn't have to wait too long. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Thanks to the New York Film Festival, I was able to check out Nomadland this weekend. I need you in the comments down below. Are you looking forward to this film? I believe it's actually releasing in early December, so it's an early review. Don't worry, I won't be spoiling anything. I'm just going to tell you guys why I think this movie could be nominated for Best Picture if we get the Oscars this next year. All right, let's talk about it. So Nomadland follows a woman in her 60s who, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling, modern-day nomad. So like I said, directed by Chloe Zhao, starring David Strathairn, Frances McDormand, and a bunch of non-actors. I mean, I'm sure there were a couple of actual actors within this cast other than those two, but for the most part, Chloe Zhao was able to utilize individuals that haven't really acted a day in their lives. Actual nomads are a part of this movie, crazy enough, and we're able to kind of get a peek behind the curtain as to how they live, why they live the way that they live. And Frances McDormand, you wouldn't even know if we didn't recognize her as an actress. She fits in perfectly, gives one of the best performances of the year. Right now, she has my vote for Best Actress. Absolutely fantastic. She's great. The entire cast is great. The way that Zhao was able to get these performances out of these individuals, and I'm talking not just, well, you know, they did good enough to keep the movie afloat, to keep the movie going. They did genuinely good. It genuinely felt like a cast of actors. One performance in particular towards the end, in the third act, they had me getting a little teary-eyed. I'm like, this is excellent. And Nomadland is a movie, and it won't hit everyone the same way, right? I've seen a couple who have said, you know what, I mean, it's a good film. It's filmed well on a technical level. It's great, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But it just didn't really hit me in the way that it intended. And I understand that to a degree, but one of the beautiful things about movies for me is you're able to get a peek inside the lives of individuals that live so differently from the way that you live, or operate their lives in a way that's just kind of unfamiliar. And that's what Nomadland was for me, and I liked getting a peek behind the curtain. I liked seeing McDormand go day to day, just kind of in this loop. I'm going to do this. I don't really care what people around me say. And you have those individuals who approach her early on in the movie. It's like, oh, I heard you were homeless. Well, I'm not homeless, and I love this line. I'm actually just houseless. I choose to operate my life like this. And even though it's difficult, I do it for a set of reasons. And as the movie progresses, we learn why she does this. And that's what I really wanted to know, is why is this her mindset? Why is she living this way when things seem much more difficult than they should? That was awesome. I haven't really felt this way while watching a movie since watching The Florida Project. And you guys know how I feel about that film. A24, beautiful, but the sense of realism, the feeling that you get watching a movie where, you know, there's obviously a script, there's a template, but it just feels like such natural dialogue, stumbling through words, trying to get through sentences, piecing together things that it just doesn't feel like you're reading things off of a script. And while I would say most of this was scripted, the conversations with the actual nomads, I don't know how much of that was just kind of off-kilter dialogue. I don't know how much of that was indeed scripted, because it felt so genuinely natural, and they felt so real while giving these performances and while delivering this dialogue. And I love that. I love that kind of movie that evokes these kinds of emotions, but also not just the realism through the dialogue, which was my favorite part of the Florida Project. It felt so natural in that way, but also on a technical level, the shots here, the swift and beautiful cinematography, as well as these set pieces, looking into these backgrounds, some of the shots, man, just incredible. But the color correction and the natural look and feel to it all. I mean, you feel like you're there. It's almost like a documentary at times. And you're going to hear a lot of people say, well, it's the movie where she poops in a bucket. And I heard that going in. I'm like, okay, I mean, she's a nomad. You got to poop somewhere. But this film is so much more than that, right? Yes, she has to do what she has to do to survive, of course, but it really is about the conversations and just seeing the mentality of McDormand's character and the struggles that she's going through, and just the way that life moves in this circle. And you'll even see characters in this film kind of settle down and realize that maybe they need to go in a different direction. But Frances McDormand, man, just the performance here combined with, and we can't believe we've not even talked about it, Zhao's direction as a whole. We don't get these beautiful shots without Zhao. We don't get these performances from these non-actors without Zhao. She allows everything to run so tight, like clockwork. And not only is the movie as a whole beautiful, but just seeing how the direction plays out and how everything is pieced together so perfectly from that perspective, it's magnificent. And again, Chloe Zhao, who is doing Marvel's Eternals, we'll have to see how that movie turns out, is just crushing it right now. And she brought this movie to life in a beautiful way. Best director for sure, I think, at this point for her. Best actress in Frances McDormand. And I think this is getting a Best Picture nomination, right? We'll have to go beyond that with awards predictions. But as of right now, if you're asking, Austin, should I watch Nomadland? If you're into this kind of movie, absolutely. If you want to peek behind the curtain into these kinds of lives, absolutely. Before I give you guys my score, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned. More reviews for awards caliber movies later on this week. The Trial of the Chicago 7. I cannot wait to watch and review that. As for this film, Nomadland, I have to go 88%. Austin, you said this movie was so good. Why are you going in 88? Well, there were a couple of times when the movie felt a bit stagnant in the third act. And the third act in general, there's a moment going into that third act where I don't know if it was as good as what we were getting prior, but we slowly start to get back on track. Just a small portion of the movie. And then there were moments where the score, which I haven't even talked about, is beautiful. It kind of fades over top of some footage that we're seeing with audio as well, and it's almost conflicting with each other, so I guess a technical issue from my perspective, but those are all just minor things that keep this movie from being a perfect 10 out of 10 from me. It's still, right now, tied for my favorite movie of the year. So clearly, I love this film. I cannot wait to see it again. I wish I could have watched it back to back. Nomadland coming early December. Stay tuned. Be sure to watch it. Chloe Zhao, you're crushing it. Also, if you're new to this channel, every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, we have a live stream where we talk movies and TV shows. I'm answering a lot of questions, and every now and then we'll bring in special YouTube guests and topics. To everyone that tuned in this last Sunday, thanks so much. It was a blast. We're doing it again next Sunday, and maybe some special live streams in the future. So, appreciate it. You guys are the best as always. Stay tuned, and I'll be back with more reviews later on.